Welcome back. You're with AM and it is 9 minutes away from 7. From today, Foodstuffs is going to begin trialling the use of facial recognition technology in 25 of its Pak'n'Save and New World supermarkets. The move is hoped to curb crime and violent behaviour, but it's also got the Privacy Commissioner concerned. Privacy Commissioner Michael Webster joins us now. Good morning.
Kia ora, good morning.
So is this the first time that this facial recognition technology has been used in supermarkets?
This is the rollout of a trial across a number of supermarkets. There has been some small use in the past, but we had discussions with Foodstuff North Island about the use of that, and they agreed that they would conduct a scientific trial that will be independently evaluated in its use.
And why were you concerned? Why did you say, hang on a minute, stop until we're on board with this and we're guiding along the way?
A couple of reasons. First off, facial recognition technology is at the moment unproven as a way of reducing incidents of violent behaviour, of harmful behaviour in the supermarket context. Second, there have been studies done overseas that show that FRT does create issues around bias and accuracy. There are concerns about false matches. No one wants to be falsely identified as a person of concern at a supermarket and banned from doing their daily shopping.
Does it impact anybody disproportionately, that bias or the misidentification?
Sure. What we've seen from overseas studies, and there have been some done, is that it particularly affects people of colour, and particularly women of colour. So you can understand, Melissa, in the New Zealand context, we want to be sure that this technology doesn't discriminate against, for example, Māori and Pacifica women.
Do you know what happens with the footage? Is that something of concern? Is that something that you're working with Foodstuffs on? Yes,
it is. We were concerned that an enormous database of facial images wasn't built up by Foodstuffs, and so one of the changes that they've agreed to, following discussions with us, is that images that aren't images of concern will be very quickly deleted. The issue with all facial recognition software databases is that that is the most personal and important personal information to all of us. And under New Zealand law, it needs to be kept securely, and it needs to be protected from being cyber hacked, for example. It needs to be protected from being misused by, for example, other people in the organisation.
What access would police be able to have in terms of either tracking down people who are wanted, but also say there's, a sighting of somebody? What access would they be able to reasonably have, do you think?
So there's two issues there. When personal information is being captured, the organisation proposing to do that needs to be very clear with members of the public, for example, about why the information is being captured and what it will be used for, including who else might see it. And the Privacy Act includes provision for the use of personal information to maintain law and order. And of course, if there was an issue, a violent incident, for example, at a supermarket, I would expect that the police would want to see the footage to help with their prosecution of that.
A lot of people, though, will say, look, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm quite happy for my, image to be taken if it means that we can protect the security guards, the staff, the people that are actually being subjected to so much abuse lately. What do you say to that? Does that not override, the ability for a supermarket to take some images?
Sure. Well, we fully understand Foodstuff's concern to protect its staff and customers, and I want to see people being able to go to work, to do their shopping, without the risk of violent confrontations, for example. But New Zealanders hold very closely and value the rights we have in our free and democratic society. And one of those rights is the right to privacy. We should be the ones who decide how much of information we share with organisations, with businesses, in order to go about our day-to-day lives. And in this case, it's just really important that the case is made for the use of this capturing of data.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. That's Privacy Commissioner Michael Webster. Now, the facial recognition trial comes amid some shocking numbers of retail crime and violence. There were 4,719 incidents of retail crime across foodstuffs just in the last quarter, 513 breaches of trespass, and that's up 52% on the previous quarter. We spoke with Police Minister Mark Mitchell last week about violent crime, and I asked him whether facial recognition technology would be a good idea.
Look, I am supportive of any measure that is going to make, number one, the staff that are working in retail safer, so they can get out of bed and go to work knowing that they're going to be safer, and also the customers and their experience that they're having. So there's a whole range of different responses that we've got or we're looking at, and but absolutely around facial recognition.
Here to speak on that trial is Foodstuffs North Island General Counsel Julian Benefield. Julian, thanks for your time. Can you just tell us why this is being introduced, why you're rolling out this trial?
Yeah, I mean, as you've said, we've seen a massive increase in retail crime in our stores recently, with a 34% increase in the last quarter alone, and a 52% increase in breach of trespass notices by repeat offenders. We've seen our store team members being stabbed, punched, kicked, bitten and spat at, and repeat offenders cause around a third of all of our incidents. We have moral and legal duties to keep our people safe, and we need to do more to keep them safe. And we think facial recognition can help us better identify our repeat offenders to stop them coming back into our stores and doing more harm to team and customers.
I'm just thinking of one recent case in Mount Roskill at New World, the security guard there who confronted somebody who was, a known issue for staff. Do you think that this would have made a difference in that situation?
It probably wouldn't have that situation because, to my knowledge, that repeat offender hadn't offended in that store before. But if they were a repeat offender of that store, that might have picked up that particular offender. But I just come back to that, overall, it's a really important thing for us in terms of keeping our people safe. And, everyone has the right to come into our stores, whether you're a team member or a customer, and feel safe and return home safe every day.
Will those images be stored or shared with any other business?
Absolutely not. As Michael has said, we have engaged very constructively with the Office of the Privacy Commissioner over a long period of time, and on their advice, we've made a number of privacy-enhancing changes, including appointing an independent evaluator who is separate to Foodstuffs North Island and the Office of the Privacy Commissioner, who will hold us to account to our very robust protocols. One of those privacy protocols is the fact that we will not share any data with any other business or any other store within our network. It will just be kept within the store. And ultimately, we will make sure that that happens, and the data will only be used in connection with retail security and only to help us better identify repeat offenders and not for any other purpose.
What about the images of children?
Based on our consultation with the Office of the Privacy Commissioner and advice that we've taken, we will not be uploading those images. Any collection of data of people who are not offenders will be immediately deleted.
Do you accept that there is the risk of misidentification, potentially leading to false arrests?
Yeah, I mean, for those New Zealanders who are concerned about the trial, what I would say is that it is a trial. It is ultimately a trial where we will work very closely with the Office of the Privacy Commissioner, and we genuinely do welcome their oversight in relation to the trial. Our systems, in terms of the configuration that we've designed in consultation with various people, have a very high accuracy threshold before a facial recognition match of a previous offender is triggered. And in addition to that, and this is really important, we then have a human element. So we have two highly trained store team members who must check that the match is correct and that it is actually the repeat offender in store before they approach them. And that mirrors what all of our stores do already in terms of dealing with repeat offenders.
Foodstuffs North Island General Counsel Julian Benefield, really appreciate your time. Thanks for being on AM this morning.